What is up, guys? How we doing? Today we're going to be talking about Martyrs. If this video abruptly ends, it's because I got an order and I will be back. It will be hours for me, but seconds for you. So Martyrs came out in 2008. It's a pretty old movie, but if you've been following my movie reviews, for the 10 of you out there that like them, I like really messed up movies. So Martyrs is a movie that I heard about for quite a while and just never got around to watching it. All I remembered about it is that people were saying it's very messed up. Quentin Tarantino called it amazing, and the poster said, "Make Saw look like Sesame Street." And I took that personally. So I finally checked it out. I bought it on Apple, and I bought the unrated version specifically because I noticed that there were murmurs that the unrated version and the rated R version are like they cut 3 minutes that are the most graphic part. But you gotta walk into this movie in the headspace that it's 2008, because it's not. The unfair thing is that it's 2025. It's post Terrifier, and 2008. I think we were at Saw 3 by that point. So, and, you know, movies like The Collector, You're Next, Barbarian, like brutal ass movies, just hadn't came out yet. So I can understand the buzz around this movie. So I'm going to get into spoilers. If you watch my movie reviews, I am not nearly smart enough like 3C and Cody Leach to articulate and tear apart the movies in a way without spoiling it. I will jump to the ending within a second. So from here on out, I will be getting into spoilers, and I may just talk about the ending in a split second. So if you don't want the movie ruined for you, don't watch past this point. If you don't care, or you've already seen it, you just want to know my opinion, well, then keep pressing on. So Martyrs. Is it the movie that everybody claims that it is? The masterpiece that Papa Meat makes it out to be? Well, it could have been. It could have been, I think. I'll be honest, I didn't really like it. I watched it a few days ago. I sat on it because I didn't want to review it. I talked about it on Twitch, but I sat on it because I really wanted to think about the movie, and the first 2 acts are good. I think, you know, so basically, this is one of those movies that giving you the plot synopsis ruins the movie. Like Barbarian, right? The way that the onion is unpeeled is great, and I like that. So basically what you have here is a girl that was tormented at like age 10, around there, and she escapes, and then she grows up in this foster home and makes best friends with Anna, and the main character is Judy, oh god damn it, Lucy, that's her name. So she's like the main character, and you know it, but then we fast forward 15 years later. We're with this random family on a Sunday morning having breakfast, and then Judy comes in and blows their freaking heads off, basically, with the shotgun. Kills them all, kills the parents, kills the kids. And I like that. I like that that's kind of how we open. But the problem with that, with the time jump, is you're sacrificing character development. We don't get much character development with these 2 characters at all. And they break into the house, they kill this family, and then for like the next 45 minutes is the 2 characters, Anna not really believing Lucy about the trauma and the shit that she's dealing with. And Lucy is seeing a character, and it's supposed to be a twist that what she's seeing was in her head all along, but I kind of called it because the monster and Anna were never in the same room at the same time. Every time she entered the room, all of a sudden the character was gone, so I figured that was just a figment of Lucy's imagination. I will say, the monster was very creepy. Its movements, it was creepy. The first two acts had me. The acting is superb. It is brutal. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's brutal as Saw. I think saying it makes Saw look like Sesame Street is bullshit. I don't think it's as grotesque as Saw. But then again, if it's 2008 and we've only gotten Saw 3, I could see that. But as the movies go on in Saw, like Saw 7, Saw 6, like, there's definitely grotesque imagery here, and it's a very brutal movie, but I would not put it above, like, Saw 10 as in terms of, like, brutality. And you got to remember, I've seen Terrifier, and this is before Terrifier came out, so I'm trying to go into it with the mindset that it's 2008, and we haven't seen these graphic things before, but we have, unfortunately. Hell, I've seen Cannibal Holocaust, and to me, that's one of the worst movies ever made. It is a snooze fest, it's boring as hell, and then the last 10 minutes are very brutal. And that's how some of these movies are. They're very brutal, but they're not good movies. And so basically after killing the parents, she's dealing with the grief, and it's revealed that the twist that this monster is her guilt of when she escaped as a kid from her torturers, that there was someone else there, and she just kind of left her. And so this monster is a guilt that's just been building and building, and basically Anna doesn't believe her and tries helping one of the victims that she shot, because somehow she's alive, which doesn't make any fucking sense. And that reveals to Lucy, like, you think I'm crazy, just like everybody else, all the doctors, like, you think I'm nuts. And so the monster slits her wrists, and then she slits her throat. But it's really her doing it to herself. And that is one thing that bugs me. For whatever reason, when it comes to wrist slitting, that is like, ugh, nails on a chalkboard to me. That's like the one thing that makes me wince. Anything else, I don't care, but something about razor blades on the wrists, man, just makes me go squeamish, And there's a lot of that in here, fucking all the way down the arm. Girl gets a knife and is trying to... There's some brutal imagery here. And, but an hour into the movie, Lucy kills herself. And then Anna calls her mother, which I thought was going to come to play later in the movie, but didn't. So that scene was kind of pointless, other than to say that her mother basically hates Lucy. And then it's revealed that there's an underground, like, torture dungeon. And she goes down there. I don't really believe she would have ever went down there, but then she finds this girl with this, like, mask-like device on. And I really like this scene when she finds her, and they make you, like, relish in the uncomfortability of trauma. Like, this is a movie that dives into trauma very well. And that's what Lucy's dealing with or dealt with until she died. And the girl that she finds is so beaten and battered and messed up that, like, they do a good job whenever, Anna helps her and puts her in the bath, of just making you, like, really feel for, like, damn, man, this girl went through a lot. But you don't get a lot of character development with these characters, and that's the problem with a movie like this that's trying to give you a bleak, hopeless ending, is you got to get me to care about the characters. And Anna doesn't become the main character until an hour into the movie, and you don't really get much character development other than she wants to help. She doesn't believe Lucy and wants to help the blonde who, tortured Lucy, Gabriella, and, helps this other girl. I just don't believe that she would have ever went down there, And, like, she had no reason to hang out after Lucy killed herself. And she stays there for, like, a solid day or two after. And so the movie had me. I think the acting was good. I think the monster was creepy. Despite not getting a lot of character development, I think it was good. We were diving into trauma and we were basking in the uncomfortability of it. But the third act sucks. I don't know how to say it other than it just sucks my ass. Alright? Like, I think Americans are just so not used to bleak endings that when they see one, they're like, masterpiece. Mwah! I don't think this was that. She gets down to the dungeon. She, takes care of that girl that I mentioned that gets into the bath and is tortured. And then all of a sudden a team of people come in, chain up Anna, and basically explain to her what they're doing. The why. The big why. And that's the most important part of the film is why are they doing this? Why have these people... So in the dungeon, she discovers these 4 pictures and... So basically, this old lady comes down and explains to her that victims are easy to make, and what we're trying to do here is martyr people. Basically, showing her pictures of people that have been so tortured that they have this look in their eye where they're still alive, but they're not mentally there. They're on the other side. And basically, the whole premise of the movie is this: all these rich people in this organization is basically trying to torture people, get them martyred, which martyr definition, witness, and witness the afterlife. And I'm sorry, but that is a stupid why. That is a very dumb why. So you tortured multiple people for multiple decades to try to get somebody to witness the afterlife. And if you think about that longer than 2 seconds, it falls on its fucking face. Well, what if what the person sees, if we finally do have success with this, is a hallucination? Or what if what the person sees isn't what I'm going to see? This innocent young woman that I tortured that saw eternal bliss on the other side, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I'm going to see. These holes that you can poke in their logic makes the why not make any sense. So then we get to the third act, and I'm sorry, but the third act is garbage. It is. You look at the movie and you're like, okay, there's 30 minutes left, alright, so there's no way that she's going to get out of this alive. Fine, we're gonna get a bleak ending, but I don't really care about Anna enough that bleak ending is going to matter to me. I don't want to sound like a monster here, but you've given me no character development, and now she's the main character an hour into the movie. So, we know nothing about her, other than she had a shitty mother, was kind of abused as a kid too. We just don't get character development. They really wanted to focus on the trauma side of this, which I can appreciate, but without the character development, you don't appreciate the trauma. Does that make sense? So after we get that explanation, it's that's it. So now, basically, she explained what she's about to do to Anna. The next 30 minutes is going to just be her getting martyred. And, it was shittily put together. I'm sorry. It was. It's sequence of her getting beat by a guy twice her size. Sequence of her having to eat dog shit. Sequence of her... And why I say sequence is because it's a 10-second scene, goes to black. 10-second scene, goes to black. And that's what the last 30 minutes of the movie is Anna... 10-second scene of her getting beat by a dude, goes to black. 10-second scene of her eating, spitting it back out, but now she's not because her spirit is broken. And then 10-second scene of her pissing into a jar. 10-second scene of her eating again. 10-second scene of her getting beat again. And it's it's not good. It's not. You could have if you're going to make Saw look like Sesame Street, these are the moments where you should be getting creative with your torture. But Instead, we just get a guy that beats the shit out of her over and over again. And you can say that that's barbaric enough, but to me, it was just lazy. To me, it was just like, oh man, we don't have much budget left. We're saving it all for the reveal at the end. And it was just 30 minutes that to some people are going to be very, very hard to watch. But for me, we're like, can we just get to where we're going, please? Because not only are these scenes not creative, it's just a guy beating the shit out of a woman. These torture methods aren't even, creative. It's just 10 seconds. I shit you not. 10 seconds seeing her eating. 10 seconds seeing her getting beat up. 10 seconds seeing her getting her hair cut. 10 seconds seeing her eating. 10 seconds seeing her getting beat up. And that's what it is for 30 minutes straight. And so, I don't know. I wish they would have gotten more creative with what they were going to do. So basically, she just gets the shit beat out of her, not fed for we don't know how long. And then the big reveal is that they cut all of her skin off except her face. Which you kind of... I'm going to sound arrogant here, but if you look at the cover of the movie, what is it? It's a girl on the cross with no skin except her face. So you kind of... At this point, when you see that she's getting her skin cut off, you realize, okay, so the cover that's what she's going to be. I don't think getting the shit beat... All these other victims had so many scratches on them and have been so malnourished for years, God knows how long. And, this girl just gets beat up a couple times, doesn't get fed, is there for maybe a month, and then she's successfully martyred. And then after all of her skin is cut off and you just get her face, which is a grotesque, cruel reveal. It is gross. They go to take a picture of her eyes, but her eyes are in the 4 other pictures. She's not here. She's on the other side. And oh my god, this is crazy. She's been successfully martyred. She's witnessing the afterlife as we speak. Fucking stupid, dude. It's stupid. Darwinism. This is Darwinism is what this is called. I would never trust what somebody tells me is on the other side. But they don't even think to question it. The girl, the main girl, the head honcho that I guess is conducting all of this, goes down and asks her, what did you see? And that's a scene that we don't hear. So a lot of people are left to interpret what was whispered in the main lady's ear. Sorry, I don't remember her name. What I think was whispered in her ear is that she described the afterlife, eternal bliss, eternal whatever. But right after this, all of these rich people, and you start to see how big the organization is and whatever, and they start to explain, hey, at this time, Anna was successfully martyred, and she witnessed seeing the other side. For the first time, we got somebody on the edge seeing the afterlife, and not only still survived, but was able to speak on it. This is the first time in history that was able to happen. And our dumbasses are too stupid to realize that maybe she's hallucinating. Maybe what she sees isn't what I'm going to see. Maybe. There's so many maybes that I just don't think that... I don't think that you would be so confident after what she said that you would blow your own head off. I think that's called Darwinism. And, it's a stupid ending. This movie didn't make me in the mad in the sense that it's cruel and has a bleak ending. This movie made me mad in the sense that I feel like I just wasted my fucking time. Because if you're going to have such cruelty, the why are you doing this is important. You're telling me all this torture for decades was to get somebody to witness the afterlife because you're too much of a pussy to just do it to yourself. Ever seen, I just don't believe that. I just don't believe that an entire organization would dedicate their time to doing this and then be so gullible to think, okay, if we ever are successful at this, whatever she sees is definitely true and will definitely be the afterlife I see too. Like, there's so many holes you can poke in it. So the why to me on as to why this movie is so cruel is dumb. And then so, since that's dumb, that means you just saw a 90-minute movie that really has no character development, kills both its characters, essentially, and also they could witness the afterlife and be martyred and go down in history as being the first person to ever see the other side and speak on it. But what I mean by it can be left to interpretation what is said to the old lady is a lot of people think that she told her that there was no afterlife, and that's why because after she tells her this, they all get together and they're about to make a big meeting, and she's about to come out and explain what she heard, and then she asks, she's in a room by herself, the older lady that conducted all this, and she asked the guy, he's coming, he's like, are you ready to come speak? And she's like, hey, do you know what's happens after we die? And then he says no, and then she's like, keep guessing, and blows her own head off. Do you know how stupid that is? You know how dumb that is? That's Darwinism, dude. That's what that's called. That's fucking Darwinism. Either way, no matter how you interpret it, if it got whispered in her ear that there is no afterlife, well, it wouldn't make any sense to blow your head off knowing that this is the one life you have. So I don't think that's what was whispered in her ear. I think because she said keep guessing and blew her head off, I think Anna described the afterlife, pure bliss, pure ecstasy, and not only did the older lady not want to share that with everybody, what she heard, that's why she said keep guessing, because she didn't want to share it, but she blew her head off to get to the afterlife, because what's the point in suffering in the world when you know that you have pure bliss and ecstasy after you die? But here is the problem, brother. You're fully relying on this person's thing that they saw that you didn't see, that lived a completely different life than you. So if she confirms the afterlife exists, that raises so many questions. Okay, so do all of us die and go to the same place? Like, are there different versions of the afterlife? Like, I don't believe what Anna saw is what your evil ass is going to see. So thank you for putting a gun in your mouth confidently. That's called Darwinism. I think the third act is dog shit. A lot of people hail this movie because of the bleakness and the hopelessness and how this movie ends, and I think it's trying to be smarter than it really is, okay? And I don't want to offend people with that. If you enjoyed this movie, great. It is an enjoyable movie. I very much enjoyed the first two acts. I wish we did get more character development, but murdering the family, seeing Lucy's trauma, seeing that creepy-ass monster, very well acted by everybody. And seeing the dungeon and starting to get those, layers of the onion peeled back, and she saves that one girl, and then, alright, so now we're finally getting it. We're finally getting the why. Oh yeah, we've been torturing people for decades to try to get them to witness the afterlife because we're so scared of death that we're willing to put all these people through this, and then we're going to take what they say and run with it and kill ourselves because we're that confident what you saw is what I'm going to saw. No chance that you hallucinated. No chance that maybe what you saw was heaven and I'm going to go to hell. You can just poke way too many holes in it, and to me, this was 90 minutes of a waste of time. That's how I feel about Martyrs. I think they had something really, really good going, and I'm for bleak endings. I ain't against bleak endings. Go check out Eden Lake. That's my favorite horror movie to date. And in my Twitch stream, I compared this to, Funny Games and Speak No Evil, and, you know, all those that have bleak endings. And Funny Games, to me, is this pretentious movie that, like, once again thinks it's smarter than it really is. That remote scene is stupidly written. Obviously, it's a shocking scene because you don't see it coming, but the bad guys in Funny Games are literally narrating, like, they keep breaking the fourth wall. So you know this movie's going to have a bad ending. So, no, that scene never really gave me hope because I knew the bad guys were going to win one way or another. But people hail it as this amazing movie when really, I don't think it was. I think if it's just a home invasion movie where they won, you know? Like, and you could call The Strangers the same thing. And I really like The Strangers. Do you know why? Because I love the concept of you were home and you got this couple that's fighting and come together in the last second of their lives. And so Martyrs, while it's brutal, while it's one that I think if you're a casual movie fan and watch this, you would be in shock for the rest of the week. When you think deeper, when you think about the third act and the why are they doing all this, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I do not believe that a whole group of people would do... Well, I mean, I guess it's supposed to be based in, like, the 70s, based on the cars they're driving. So, yeah, I could believe that religious nut jobs are... But even still, I just don't believe somebody would be so sure of what this person's saying they saw after torturing them and being malnourished and whatever, knowing that they see things, the fact I'm supposed to believe that this older lady is so certain that what Anna saw is the afterlife, not only that it's the afterlife, but it's the same thing that she's gonna see, so much so that she blows her head off. That's stupid, man. And it makes the third act fall apart. I will give Martyrs a 3 out of 5. I like that it goes for some uniqueness here. You know, like, you definitely don't see what's coming, and I like that. I called the monster not being real, and like I said, on the cover, what Anna turns into is what's on the cover. So I kind of figured that's where they were going with that after we got everything explained to us. But the third act was terrible. It was 10-second scenes of this and this put together, and then you get to the why, and it's like, this is fucking stupid. Like, this is stupid. It's just stupid. Even if Anna did witness the afterlife, that raises so many more questions than it does answers. Like, okay, so does that mean there's one afterlife? Does that mean the fact that the old lady went on to kill herself, I'm so sure of, I'm going to go to the afterlife now, I'm going to go to bliss. Like, bitch, no you ain't. If the afterlife exists, that means that there could be multiple. That means that there could be heaven and hell. That doesn't necessarily mean we're all going to the same place. And she could have just been hallucinating due to what you just put her through, because that is a part of trauma, as you said. So I don't believe this character, after 20 years of conducting torture, would have just believed everything she said and shot herself. I think that was a stupid ending. I think just the why in general, that we're torturing people to get them on the edge to not die, but witness the afterlife, and then come back and tell us what it is. But we've never been able to successfully do that. They either die or they go crazy. And for the first time ever, Anna just happens to, after so much torture, she just gets the shit beat out of her over and over again. Like, I don't think she went through nearly as much as the girl she saved. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, look, I'm trying to put myself back in 2008. But I even still don't think this movie is that good. This is not a movie that I would recommend to anybody. This is not a movie that I would say, hey, I'm glad I bought this. This is not a movie that I would say is a masterpiece. This is a movie that has very little character development, has a good way of telling the story it's trying to tell with the way it's peeling back the layers, has some genuine shocking moments of horror and grotesque imagery. But when you get to the why and you get to the third act, it just falls on its fucking face for me. And I feel like their budget ran out and they were just saving it all for the last scene because, good God, dude, like the 10 seconds go to black. 10 seconds go to black. That is the last 30 minutes of the movie. It's shitty. And people are going to go, Jeremy, you were just, trying to be that tough guy. No, dude. If you're going to say that makes Saw look like Sesame Street and you're going to give me 30 minutes of a woman being tortured, you should come up with creative torture methods rather than her just getting beat up and her hair cut and fed dog shit. I think the movie could have been a lot more brutal than it actually is, but people are saying that it's one of the most brutal movies ever, and that's because it has a bleak ending. And Americans, we don't like bleak endings. Look at the Speak No Evil remake and tell me I'm wrong. You know a movie that has a bleak ending that does it much better? Eden Lake. I just don't think this movie is good. I think the first two acts are. Third act, when we get to the why, and you know what's about to happen to Anna, it's like, yeah, this is stupid. And then it happens to Anna, and then she blow. You could poke so many holes in it that I'm sorry, it just isn't good. So, there you go. Martyrs. Is it worth the buzz that everybody made? No, I don't think so. I think they just saw a bleak ending and were like, yep, this movie's amazing. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for watching.